today, on the 14th of September 2023, I saw the thing that scared me the most as a kid. Nobody knew who he was and where he came from. I was the only one to realize who he was. When I was 5, I lived in a small town in between two major cities. It was a simple town, but a nice one. A big park, a small mall with all the basic shops, and a small primary school. I used to go to that school until the 3rd grade. The event of this story takes place 2 years before that. Unfortunately, this story is real and left me marked for life. Just typing this makes me anxious. When I got into the 1st grade, my parents decided to call my best friend's mother. The goal of the call was for me and my friend, let's call her, to walk together to school since we both lived close to the school, less than a kilometer. Keep in mind that we were both 5 years old. We first walked the path with our parents for the first week. Everything went smooth and we both loved walking with our parents and having fun. The first months of me and walking to school went smoothly. We both waited for one another at the local golf club's parking lot and walked to school. Fast forward to February that morning. I went outside in my puffy snowsuit and waited at the parking lot like usual. I waited 5 minutes, then 10, then 15 minutes. I noticed that she wasn't coming from down the road. My parents didn't warn me about that, did they? I decided to still go on my merry way. Oh boy, was I wrong to do that. I should have come back home and tell my mom or something. As I walked down the road, I passed a house that always made me feel uncomfortable. It was a big house, 3 stories high and made of a dark brown brick, and the windows were blocked with bed sheets. The parking lot was filled with trash and old toys that were discolored by the sun. As I walked past it, I heard a door open. Soon after, I heard a man call me. "Hey, come over here," he said in a weird, kid-friendly voice. I turned around to see who it was, and it was this weird tall man with long and slick ginger hair. He had a metalhead haircut, and he was wearing a black hoodie with some disgusting jeans, and nothing more but Crocs on his feet. "I have something to show you, bud. Come inside, I have something for you." I never lived something like this, but I remembered my dad telling me if anyone you don't know asks you to follow them in their car or inside their house, do not follow them. As I heard what the man said, I started running as fast as I could. When I turned the street corner, something grabbed me. He grabbed me. He was holding onto my shoulder and turned me around to face him. The smell of his hair was horrible, a mix between rotten eggs and cigarettes. I looked at him for a split second before deciding to make another run for it. I arrived at the crossroad next to my school and ran straight for the school crossing guard. I explained what happened, and she took me to school with her. When I was finally in the building, I told my teacher right away. My teacher was in utter shock to hear that, and went in the principal's office to get someone to come and get me. The school specialized education teacher took me to the staff meeting room afterwards to speak about the situation. My parents were called, but my dad was not able to come to school. My mom, on the other end, came as quick as she could. When my mom arrived, I bursted into tears and hugged her because I was scared of being kidnapped. The whole situation was explained to my mom, and the police officers were called to the school because my mom wanted to press charges against the man. When the officers asked about his description, they stopped and one said, "Oh yeah, we know who that is. We call him Elmo." My mom took a second and looked really confused. As a kid, the only thing that was close to Elmo was that red little monster thing, and I remember being confused as well. My mom then spoke. "Who the hell is this Elmo? And why would he grab my son like that?" The teacher tried to talk, but the officers started arguing, and the room was filled with the loud voices of both my mom and the officers. After they were done, the teacher said something that still makes me mad to this day. "Listen, officers, he talking about me did not mean to lie to you. It's just a big misunderstanding. Children these days have a tendency to lie a lot." The teacher looked at me and told me, "Go ahead, my name. Tell the officers that it was a made-up story, that you just imagined things because you were alone and scared." She was looking at me with knives instead of eyes. Of course, I tried to defend myself, but she didn't want to hear what I had to say. In the end, I was pressured into lying about my life. The officers gave me a warning and a good old verbal beating. My mom knew that I wasn't lying and took the matter in her own hands. That day, I went home in the morning, and my mom decided to make me skip a whole week of school to think about what I did. Fast forward 15 years, I now work as a cook in a pub. Today was a good day as usual. I greeted the clients like usual and kept working in the kitchen. At some point during the day, my colleague said, "Yeah, man, look at that guy's hair. This shit is long." I peeked trough the door frame, but I couldn't see anything. I went behind the counter, and it hit me like truck in the chest. It was him. To confirm my theory, I took off my apron to serve him and take care of his order. At some point, he asked to open a tab and get a beer. I asked him what was his name. "Just call me Elmo. That's what my friends call me." I backed up and went into the office to breathe. I felt like I was gonna be sick. I sat down at my laptop in the office and looked up Elmo Child. I found something that made me sick. This guy was a registered SO and a CR. He was incarcerated from 2009 to 2022. That meant that he just came out of jail and walked freely. I felt like my heart was going to explode. I left work and told my trainee to fill in for me. When I got home, I called my mom and told her everything. She then told me something I never knew, the reason why I skipped a whole week of school. She told me that when we got back home, she contacted my uncle, who was in the police with the K9 units. He went to Elmo's house with 3 of his buddies and to K9 units to search the house. His house was filled with pictures of CP and paintings of horrible things. In the end, they caught him red-handed and was sent to jail. Now, he walks freely and came to my pub. As of now, I'm home and safe. I don't know what to do if he comes again, but one thing is for sure, I won't sleep tonight.